Rosie Wrighting.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise today as the youngest woman in Parliament and the first woman to represent my constituency of Kettering. I was also raised by women, my mum, my nan and my aunt Emma. I am proudly a Gen Z woman. Like many others my age, I grew up on social media. I watched this series of Love Island. This weekend I'm going to see Sabrina Carpenter, and I'm still shocked about Molly May and Tommy Fury's breakup. But absolutely none of that takes away from my ability to serve my constituents. Madam Deputy Speaker, being a young woman in this place has its pitfalls, and I know that women MPs bear the brunt of online abuse, making ourselves read daily online comments which criticise our appearance, question our intelligence and threaten our safety. In a post when the election was called last year, more people asked me if I had an OnlyFans account than about our manifesto pledges.
Disgraceful.
Online, I am called Barbie. I'm a stupid girl and a child playing politics, and many more creative things that I can't say in this house. I know many great women who haven't stood for Parliament because of online abuse or worrying about their safety, and this House is worse off because of it. My message for women who are thinking about getting into politics is that there's a place for you here, and we need you.
Will the Honourable Member give way?
Yes, absolutely.
Does she agree with me that she is a phenomenal role model herself as a woman with a great knowledge of business and sitting on the Business and Trade Select Committee, brings a special expertise, having worked herself in the fashion industry?
I thank my honourable friend for those really kind comments. But the things I see on my screen also translate to real life. And when I walk back to my flat tonight, I won't have my headphones on, so I can hear if someone is following me. And when I go out with my friends, I won't put my drink down because I'm worried I might be spiked. And when a man asks for my number on the tube, all I'm thinking is how I can let him down gently because I'm worried how he might take it if I say no.
Will my honourable friend give way?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I thank my honourable friend for giving way. I'd just like to remark it in support of her observations about the experience of being a female Member of Parliament, that when we were advised about security as candidates by this place, the advice that we got from a bunch of white men, we kind of looked at each other, us female candidates, and observed that almost everything they were suggesting that we did, walk in the light, don't have your headphones on, be careful where you stand on a platform, were basically the advice we had been given by our mothers at the age of 12.
Wrighting.
Yes, I absolutely do agree, and coming into this place, it's sad to say that advice wasn't new to us, and it is sadly things that we've had to learn just through our own experiences. And I also want to put on record my admiration for colleagues across this House from ethnic minority backgrounds, the LGBTQ+ community, and female members who have disabilities, because they fight a fight I can't even imagine. I am surrounded, though, by many, many great male colleagues in this place, and I know that we cannot accelerate action, uplift or empower young women without also engaging young men. We have to be clear, we cannot tackle violence against women and girls without supporting young men at this vital point. My constituency is not unique to having women in our community who've been killed by a family member or partner. And I want to take a moment to mention the horrific case of Anju Asok, who was a well-loved nurse in Kettering, and she was killed alongside her 2 children in December 2022 by her husband. Anju went to work every day to look after others and support our vital public services. But when she needed support the most, she was let down. But we have so much more to do to make women feel safe at work, walking down the street, and even in our own homes. And I know members across this House will continue to work together to make sure that we can accelerate that action.
Annalise Midgley.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Every year, over 1.6 million women in this country experience domestic abuse. And in my own constituency of Knowsley, we have recently had the highest rate of femicide. I'm determined to do everything I can in my power to keep women safe in my constituency. Madam Deputy Speaker, Paula Leather was from Knowsley, and in her family's words, Paula was beautiful inside and out, so kind, so loving, and she was the person that was there for everyone. She worked at the Asda and was the mum of Jason, Jessica and Matthew, and the proudest nanny for her first grandson. But Paula's husband barbarically murdered Paula in their home, stabbing her up to 300 times. And behind each statistic we cite are real lives like Stephanie Owen, Sharon Hayter, Teresa Wishart, Valerie Turner, Magdalena Palcutt, Lorraine Cullen, Karen Dempsey and Courtney Boom, all women from Knowsley, killed by male violence against women, some murdered by their own sons. 1 in 10 women killed by men are killed by their own sons. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'd like to turn to the urgent issue of funding for specialist domestic abuse services. For many survivors, these are a lifeline, but the fact is they're struggling financially. They're stretched, underfunded, and in some cases shutting doors. We can't accept this. Many survivors are more likely to turn to them and have more trust than they do in the state and the police. So these services must be at the heart of this government's mission to halve violence against women and girls. We've got to put our money where our mouth is. Madam Deputy Speaker, the first step, the only independent specialist domestic abuse service in Knowsley, literally saves lives. And I want to commend the Chief Executive, Carolyn Grant, and her team for what they do for Knowsley. She's up there. Yet they are being forced to turn women away because the stability of funding just isn't there. And that's why I've written to my honourable friend, the Victims Minister, to ask that this sustainable multi-year funding is committed to specialist domestic abuse services, including the first step in Knowsley. I welcome Raheem's Law and everything that this government is doing on this urgent matter. We've made incredible progress and have great ambition for women, and I'd like to thank my honourable friend who's on our front bench today for all her work. But no funding was pledged for domestic abuse in the last budget, and I very much hope that that changes in the spring statement.
Chris MacDonald.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I'd like to thank my honourable friend, the member for Brent East, for moving this motion. We've just heard from the last two speakers, my honourable friends, the members for Kettering and Knowsley, some incredibly powerful testimony. But if members will forgive me, I intend to shift the tone slightly and talk about a moment of joy that I experienced yesterday. But first, I also want to acknowledge the proud achievements of our Labour Party in advancing the cause of women over the last century, and pay particular tribute to the members of the women's sections in our labour and trade union movement for the work that they do in their local communities. So yesterday, I had a lovely visit to our marvellous education centre from the students of St Joseph's Catholic Church primary school in Billingham in my constituency. And as always, I was asked the best and hardest questions by the students there. And one of the questions I was asked are, what are MPs going to do to help women who play football have the same level of pay as men who play football? What a great question that is. And in fact, we've heard a bit about women's sport today, and we are seeing real rapid growth and transformation of football for women and girls. We've heard about the Lioness effect. And we've seen the England team have been fantastic role models and have achieved absolutely on the main stage at Wembley under floodlights, really putting their critics to rest. But we shouldn't forget what they've been up against. The Football Association today have got ambitious targets to grow the girls' game. But on the 5th of December 1921, the FA met at its headquarters in London and announced a ban on the women's game. They said the game of football is quite unsuitable for females and ought not to be encouraged. Well, before that, there were 150 women's football clubs attracting 45,000 fans to their games. You do have to wonder if the FA were more motivated by how the women's game was taking fans away from the men's game. And I think if you'd asked women before that ban, they would have said there was a bright future for the women's game. Well, there certainly is now, because since that ban was reversed in 1971, the women's game has gone on from strength to strength, and I would like to commend the Football Association for the work that they've done to improve access and opportunities for women and girls. And tomorrow, to celebrate International Women's Day, I will be joining the Bewley Primary School, also in Billingham, to watch a training session and a football match run by the Hartlepool Football Foundation. The Let Girls Play biggest ever football session I think sends a very strong message to girls growing up today